Hi, I'm Gordon, the technical co-founder here at Lineup Ninja, and I'm here today to share with you our latest release, Content Portal. Here it is. Content Portal is our new way for your speakers and submitters to interact with all of their event content through the life cycle of your event, whether that be their initial submissions, requests for slides, requests for sponsor logos, requests for speaker agreements. All their interactions with your event happen through Content Portal. I'd just like to take a few minutes of your time to introduce you to some of the features that you will find useful, I hope. Okay, let's start with the portal itself. You'll see a new menu item here, Content Portal, and Content Portal has two pages to it, a landing page and a home page. Each page is configurable with the sections that you want to share with the portal user for your event. So in our example one here, we've got a section that welcomes the user to the portal. And then we have multiple different sections that share different content with the user. So for example here, the first section here is any tasks they have to do. So this is things like incompleted submissions, or their request for slides, or their requested speaker agreement, anything that you've asked the speaker or the submitter to do. They can also view ones that they've already completed and ones that they unfortunately missed the deadline. And in the next section here, My Profile, you can share their data as it appears on the agenda. Things like their first name, their last name, their URLs for social networks, their profile picture, and so on. All of these are configurable, and you can choose which options you want to share with the speaker. And in this instance, you can choose which fields are required or optional, whether they should be able to edit them here or not, whatever works for your event. Further down here, the speaker can view their sessions, what time they're scheduled, who they're presenting with, and you can, if you want, additionally share the contact details for the other panel members. And here we have a section for open calls for content, where they can create a new proposal to talk at your event. As I mentioned at the top here, you can add your own branding with an image for desktop and mobile. Again, simply just click the edit icon here to do that. This menu down the left enables the user to easily access the various sections on the form. You can choose whatever icons, the language you need, and the ordering as appropriate for your event. So at an extremely high level, that's the new interface for Content Portal. But there's a lot there, like particularly the tasks section. Where does that data come from? As an existing client, you're possibly familiar with submission flows, or perhaps you've not engaged with them, but submission flows are our way for offering an open call for papers for an event and for inviting certain types of content. As part of Content Portal, we have two new ways of gathering event content, and that's session tasks and speaker tasks. They're very similar to submission flows, except for a speaker and session task is to request that data for all the speakers and the sessions that are on your agenda. I'll show you those in a little bit. First though, I'd like to just run through submission flows and a few changes we've made to simplify things. I think we can all agree that submission flows are quite complicated and difficult to use, if powerful, so we've made a big effort to simplify their configuration. Let's have a look at an example flow I've got here. Now, firstly, we've rejigged the menu a little bit. So you see I've clicked the submission flow name there and it's gone to the list of submissions. Radical, I know. Now, the menu here, this is the submission flow, and then the next one is configuration. And what we've done here is merge together the form designer and the submission stages view into the same page. So you can see more easily what's going on and preview the portal user's experience. So here we've got, as before, stages such as draft, submitted, rework, requested, waitlisted, but now here you can see the form as it appears in each stage. For example, here in draft, all the questions are available for the user to fill in. Now if we click submitted, we can see here all the questions are now locked and the user can see their answers but not make any further changes. If we go to rework requested, in this instance we've said, yeah, you can change some of your fields like your name, but not some other ones. Now, some of you will be familiar with the automation actions that were controlling how questions were visible in some stages and not others. It did the job, but it was quite complicated, so we've simplified that now. And if you click this edit icon next to a stage, we have this section here, question visibility in this stage. And here you can easily choose whether a question should be editable, locked or hidden in each stage. So let's say, oh, actually we want people to be able to change their job title. So press that, press save. That will just save that change. Give it a moment, there we are. And now they can edit their job title. And you can see that in this preview. That will update automatically for all submissions in that stage without you having to take any further action. As part of the integration of the form designer and submission stages, you can now add and remove questions directly here. So you can reorder the questions, you can click here to add a new question. These are similar options that you'll be familiar with. And you can also add new sections and edit the section details here. Hopefully this gives you a more intuitive experience for managing the form. If you're wondering where the branding menu has gone, then that is now part of the content portal. This branding here is what you will see in the content portal. Notice here you've also got home page. This shows you what this submission will look like in the portal. Again, you can click here to make some changes for how that should appear for the submission in that stage, if you need to. One thing I need to make you aware of for submission flows is a change we've made around the data flow. Previously, data was only updated from a submission flow to the agenda. Changes you made on the agenda, such as updating a session description, did not flow backwards to the submission. This meant you could unfortunately reach the situation where you were making a change to the agenda, you then updated the agenda from the submissions and overwrote your updated agenda with the original data from the submission. So we've made a change that for events using Content Portal, when you make a change on the agenda, if there is an associated submission, that submission will now also be updated with the change you've made on the agenda. You'll see in the submission the history of the user's answer. So if you need to if you need to see previous versions of that answer and potentially roll back, you can come here, click this button, and it will show you the previous versions of that answer. Otherwise, things are largely similar for submission flows. Don't have a huge amount more to say about them. If you've got any questions on submission flows, please check the documentation on the submission flows section. Now I'd like to introduce to you session tasks and speaker tasks. Not in that order, I'm going to do speaker tasks first. Agenda planning, speakers. You'll find a new menu item here, speaker tasks. What speaker tasks are is a way for you to ask your speakers to do something, and that is generally to provide you with some sort of information. So let's say you want to ask them for maybe their company logo, or you want them to complete a speaker agreement, or you want them to provide their needs for hotels. You'll see we have a few templates here, or you can start with a custom one. What I'm going to take a look at here is just this speaker details task. Let's go through this flow here. I'm going to create a new task. I'm going to create this task. I'm going to say, what information am I going to request from the speaker? Now, I might already have some of this information, but I want the speaker to be able to verify the information that we've got for them and to provide updates if they need to. So let's say their first name, last name, job title, emails, bios, and maybe a logo for that company. So let's say next. Now with the speaker and session tasks, you might want to run a review of the details the speaker's given you, or you might not care and you just want the data on the agenda as quickly as possible. So it asks you here what process you're going to go for. So let's say, no, I'm not going to run a review process. I just want the data on the agenda as soon as the speaker's given it to me. So let's choose that. And then, do I want to leave the form open for the speaker to be able to submit further updates as and when, or should it be locked? Let's say locked. Save. So this will just create the speaker details task. I'll just give that a moment. There we are. And that just brings us to this configuration page. I just want to highlight a few things about this configuration, which are the options you have around who will do the task and which speakers is the task needed for. So let's look at which speakers need this task. So by default, we're going to say all speakers need to fill this in. But you might have a task that only, say, your VIP speakers need to complete, or maybe only your speakers who are going to be moderating on a stage. Perhaps you've got a specific task for them to complete, so like a health and safety review or something. So you can add the filters that you need here to say this task should be done by these speakers. Secondly, who should perform the task? Now for most of you, for speakers, it's the speaker will do the task. Some of you have got more complex requirements, such as the original submitter needing to do the task. You can use these options here to configure what you need. Let's save that. Okay, here's the form that the user will fill in. So it's got all things like first name, last name, bio, profile photo, brand logo, etc. It's a really simple workflow, requested, then completed. Okay, great. How do we go about getting someone to fill this in? We go to speakers, we'll see we've got this event. It's very intimate, it's only me and Joe, but you'll see the speaker details appears here. So that needs assigning. So we can tick the speakers we want to assign to, come down here and press assign task. If you've just got one speaker, you can just click where it says needs assigning. Okay, we're going to send this email, and these email templates work in the same way as they have with submission flows. You can find all of your email templates within the Content Portal email templates configuration. Let's assign this task to me to complete, and you'll now see that says requested. If you click on it, it will go to the task, and you'll see this is the form that they've been provided with, and you'll see we have filled it in with the values that are on the agenda for this speaker. So the user doesn't have to give you that data again, they're just reviewing what you've already got. So let's say this is me as the portal user. Here's the task that's just been assigned to me. So I'm going to do this now. And here we are, Gordon Johnston, dude, Lineup Ninja top guy. Let's update my bio. Yes, really. And I've got my profile picture, and we're going to provide a new brand logo. So let's just drag and drop a logo here. That's a fabulous company. Let that upload. And once that's uploaded, the speaker can submit for review. All this language is configurable how you need for your event. Let's just confirm that. Okay, that's been submitted. The speaker can review their data here. Now if we come back over to the agenda, we can see it's been submitted on the form. And if we go up to the speaker themselves and we click here, we'll see the bio has been updated on the agenda and we've received the new speaker company logo. That's because we chose to update the agenda automatically as the task was completed. So that's tasks in a nutshell. Oh, one more thing. I was mentioning about the data flowing from the agenda into tasks. Just to show you that in action, let's say I'm going to change my job title from dude to duda. We'll save that. And what this will do is update the form that the user has completed. So we come over and there we can see that data has updated with the change we've made, and the speaker can see that, and if needed, and you allow them to, they could edit that again. If you need to revert the answer, you can click here and revert to a previous answer. That's a very quick look at speaker tasks. Session tasks are very similar. We've got a few templates, say for slides or for asking for session details. I'm not going to run through it here, it's exactly the same. You can go through, create a task, and it will appear here for a session for you to fill in. Just the same, so there's no point in me repeating that. So, how do you get access to this, I hear you say? If you go to your team page, you will now see this option here, which is a toggle to enable Content Portal for your event. By default, it's not enabled, so events that you create have our previous experience, but if you want to give Content Portal a go for your future events, just toggle it here, and then events that you create will have Content Portal. If you decide that you need to go back to your previous experience, you can toggle this off, and then events created after that will be the older style. If you do toggle it off though, please let us know why, because we'd like to work out why there's a gap for you. That's it, really. I hope you find this useful. It's a big step forward for the product. We're certainly keen to hear any feedback you've got, and for you to let us know how you're getting on. So please be in touch. Support@lineupninja.com is a good way for you to be in touch with us. Until we hear from you, goodbye.